The Seattle Office of Economic Development is investing $8 million to connect small businesses to operating capital. The Small Business Capital Access Program will lower the cost of Washington State Small Business Flex Fund loans by paying down 25% of the loan principal. Eligible small businesses can borrow up to $150,000 with a 4% interest rate to cover expenses like payroll, rent, utilities, and supplies.
The Beat of the Fox with Nastiness is back on K-Fox Night Beat.
Yo, what's the deal? It's the legendary Hall of Fame DJ Mixmaster Ice from UTFO.
What's up? Who you thought this is? This is Sir Mix-a-Lot.
And this is Terry Lewis.
And I'm Grand Mixer GMS.
What's up, y'all? This is DJ Third Degree.
This is JJ Hudson from the High Children family.
Sunday nights from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's K-Fox Night Beat with DJ Nastiness.
Bringing back the memories.
Bringing back the memories.
Bringing Seattle's hottest music.
Bringing Seattle's hottest music. Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
That's my noise.
Peace. This is Big Poppy, host of Jazz from the Cabinets. Join me each week for a listening tour of the first century of jazz, an eclectic mix of Dixieland, big band, cool jazz, bebop, contemporary jazz, world jazz, and all forms. That's Jazz from the Cabinets with Big Poppy on Rainier Avenue Radio, streaming worldwide on rainierAvenueRadio.world.
My name is Keith. I'm a barber from Tacoma, Washington. When the pandemic hit, it did affect me as a business owner. I have my own personal reasons why I didn't get vaccinated. But I was talking to a doctor, and he was telling me more about what it could do to protect us and our family. I wanted to get back to that once was, right? I do feel safe knowing that I am vaccinated. I just hope what I'm saying is reaching into people's heads to know that this is the best decision for all of us. To learn more, please visit hereforuswa.org.
Live from Upper Left USA, this is Caleb Brown with Unleashed Entertainment. You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Hello and welcome to tuning in to Rainier Avenue Radio for a special edition of Street Beats. We are not ready just yet, so stay with us live. We're going to play some tunes for you and get ready to go. But in a few moments, Tony B will be interviewing Kathy Sledge of the legendary rock and disco group Sister Sledge right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. So don't go anywhere. Special Street Beat coming up soon. Kathy Sledge will be joining Tony B for a special edition of Street Beats. Until then, enjoy yourself and keep it locked. This is Rainier Avenue Radio's 5th anniversary, y'all, so help celebrate with us as well. 5 years of all different types of community programs, sports, politics, music of all genres, and no rhetoric or anything like that. Everyone gets to speak their mind on your community radio station, Rainier Avenue Radio. Go to rainierAvenueRadio.world for more updates and keep up with us there. But we'll be starting our Street Beats special with guest Kathy Sledge here momentarily. Until then, stay with us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, as well as the Rainier Avenue Radio app and the Rainier Avenue Radio websites, rainierAvenueRadio.world. just an update for you all that are patiently waiting for our interview with Kathy Sledge of Sister Sledge. It's going to happen, y'all, and it's going to happen in a few minutes here. Just finishing getting ready up for you. So a special Street Beat hosted by Tony B with Kathy Sledge of Sister Sledge. Stay tuned. We should be going live within 5 to 10 minutes. So tell your friends about it. This is going down. And it'll be extended all the way until 3 p.m. So keep it right here on your community radio station, Rainier Avenue Radio, special edition of Street Beat featuring guest Kathy Sledge of Sister Sledge, starting within 5 to 10 minutes. Stay right here.
I got to talk. I got to tell what I feel. I got to talk about my life as I see it.
All right, then. It's time for you to bring it to the table.
Turn up your radio wherever you are. We about to bring it.
Street Beat. Yeah.
With Tony B.
For the next hour, Tony B will give you a chance to tackle local, national, and international issues that affect your community. Street Beat. Street Beat.
Tony B.
2, 1.
Welcome to Rainier Avenue Radio. This is Street Beat. I'm your host, Tony B. This week, the beat of the city is definitely Sister Sledge in town. Right here at the Columbia City Theater in South Seattle, Kathy Sledge, the iconic voice of Sister Sledge, will be joining us. I'm really looking forward to this particular interview for a lot of reasons. I don't mind sharing with you that I've been a fan of Sister Sledge for a long, long time. Now, if you think that Sister Sledge started with We Are Family, you're really going to join this. You're really going to enjoy this interview because we're going to find out a whole lot more. I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Right now, I would like to bring out again the voice, the amazing voice of Sister Sledge, Kathy Sledge. Hello, Kathy. How are you? I'm fantastic. Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. I'm happy to be here.
Well, you know, I feel like I already know you.
Okay, so well, we are family. No pun intended.
Well, first of all, have you ever been to Seattle?
If I have, it's been so long ago
Been a long
that I don't
time.
remember. But I have to say, I'm really enjoying it. It's beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Beautiful. I'm having a good time.
Well, welcome to Rainier Avenue Radio. Welcome to the Columbia City Theater in South Seattle. We are the community radio station. And I know so many folks have been anticipating this day that you would be here so we get a chance to talk.
Thank you. Can you say that again? It sounds so good.
But I know that I have a pretty good speaking voice.
Yes, you do.
But you have, again, just one of those recognizable singing voices. And I was doing a little research on you, and I remember you thinking, well, my voice is just my voice. It's nothing special about it.
It's your voice, you know? Is that your voice?
and that's what I want to start with. Going back to the early days of Sister Sledge, which for me would have to start with talking a little bit about your family and your family background.
Yeah. 5 girls, 5 daughters. I was obviously the last attempt for a son, the youngest of 5 daughters. And we single parents, so our mom. So our house was kind of like a sorority growing up. But yeah, we grew up very close-knit family. In fact, the then record company president was describing to Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards, describing us. You got to meet these girls, they're family. They flock together like birds of a feather whenever they come up to the label. And they wrote down these notes. And those really are the lyrics to We're Family. So it's a portrait of us. I'm very proud of that. It's kind of interesting because it's very personal.
Yeah. Now, your mother was in the entertainment industry. Your father was in the entertainment industry.
Yes.
Your grandmother.
My grandmother, who a lot of people don't know, we're from the Harrison family. And my grandmother's, I guess you could say, great cousin wrote Amen. So it just goes back, I guess, from as far back as then to my father, which a lot of people don't know. He was one of the first African Americans on Broadway, dancing Kissing Kate. So it's kind of been in our lineage, just the whole business of music and the arts.
Yeah, and you were actually, a child star. When you were in school, you would apparently leave for the weekends and go out of the country.
I know, I was like the real life Hannah Montana before Hannah Montana existed. Like I was in middle school, so and I would tell my friends, we had hits in other countries. When I was 13, we had a hit in Tokyo, and then 14 a hit in the UK.
Wow!
So I would go and do these massive concerts, and then I'd come home and get on the bus and go to school. And then I would want to talk about it. I'd tell my friends, I went to Japan this weekend, and either they thought you were lying or bragging. So, but in retrospect, it gave me a very good balance of, I started saying, well, I had to work this weekend because I didn't get into it. I had to work. And then I realized that one is your work and one is your life. Of course, your life always comes first. It gave me a healthy balance of how to pretty much navigate through all of this as a preteen.
Yeah.
In the early days.
I guess for you that was your experience, but for the rest of us, we would want to know what was that like? I mean, you're saying like, well, I went to I went to the UK on the weekend and came back to school, and and tried to tell them, and they didn't really get where I was coming from. But
it was much more chaotic than the way I just explained it. It was frenetics all the time. But you're right. I got so used to it that I never talked about it because it was hard to explain. But we would, first and foremost, our grades always came first. So there would be plenty of times when, and this is the first, I'm never announcing this, but I am talking to different networks now, like BET, and about our biopic, the story behind We Are Family, and I'm
Wow.
very excited about it. But we would do things like, I remember, study for exams in the dressing room, like in the makeshift dressing rooms, because always it was important that our grades came first. And if we would slip, then we weren't allowed to sing. And I always have and always do. I love singing. So I honestly didn't believe people were paying me to do what I love so much. But that was the rule in our house, that we had to make sure our grades were always up to par.
So I have so many things to talk to you about.
Okay.
Again, you're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World. It's me, your host, Tony B. This is Street Beat. Our guest is Kathy Sledge, the iconic voice. Library of Congress. We Are Families in the Library of Congress.
It is. I'm so proud of that. It's up there with the Martin Luther King speech. I mean, to be a part of the Library of Congress means that it will be here, which I always feel like We Are Families, that kind of song that will be here when we're long gone. But that kind of made it official more than ever. So.
Yeah. And so I want to talk about that as well.
Okay.
But I also still, before we get there, because we're going to take a quick break right here, what was it like for you at that point in time to travel, perform outside of the country, come back to the United States, going to school, just that whole experience? A lot of people haven't even been overseas. You were doing this as a performer when you were, what, 13 years old?
I was.
How did you adjust to...
Well, I was actually about to just pull a joke on you and start twitching. Because even as you explain it, I'm like, I did that. But you know what? You adjust because, A, it's a blessing. You're blessed to be able to travel that young and go around the world. I always felt it that way and saw it that way. And B, because you loved it. I mean, I loved what I did. And C, because it was an opportunity. So I never looked at it like, I mean, you got your hustle on. Plus, I came from the early days of old school. And I've worked with so many, we'll talk about that.
Yes.
So many entertainers that taught me so much, and I still feel like being in the entertainment industry, this is a huge part of that, how I came to be that.
Listening to Rainier Avenue Radio, my guest, Kathy Sledge. I wanted to just give you a little background information. We're going to get into the music. Of course, we're going to talk about some of the folks that Kathy was just mentioning that she's worked with. And we're going to talk about the performance this weekend, actually starting tonight.
Yeah, tonight.
At Jazz Alley, 7:30 show tonight. Friday and Saturday, 7:30 and 9:30. Sunday, 7:30. So we're going to have you here for the whole weekend.
Yes.
You're going to get a little sunshine. You'll get a little rain.
Yeah.
That's how we get down here.
To meet the people in Seattle.
We'll be back and we'll continue this conversation right after this.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not using my GPS to navigate the land of 1,000 dances, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
You probably have questions about COVID vaccines. Here are some answers about how they're being made.
How are COVID vaccines being produced faster?
Usually, vaccine testing and production are separate steps. But because of the pandemic, vaccines are being developed on parallel tracks. So both steps are happening just at the same time.
How are the vaccines being tested?
Right now, several different COVID vaccines are in testing. Each go through multiple clinical trials with up to thousands of volunteers.
How do vaccines get approved?
Not all COVID vaccine versions will make it to the final stages of testing and approval. Produced vaccines that do not pass clinical trials will be destroyed. But for those that do pass, a team of medical experts will examine test results and possible side effects. If the vaccine is effective and safe, it gets approved and gets to you. Go to covidvaccinewa.org to learn more. A message from the state of Washington.
Hi, it's your favorite Rainier Avenue radio host from the Clean Greens Living Live show. It's Queen Bree
and Robin T.
Our show is live every Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with topics ranging from life on the farm, health and wellness, and race and social justice.
We feature guests each week with expertise in activism, entrepreneurship, healing, and food justice.
So come join your girls live every Thursdays at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Clean Greens Living Live Show. You can even call in and be a part of the show. See you then.
Greetings. This is your host, DJ Neftali, Rainier Avenue Radio World, the best DJ in the Seattle area. You can catch me every Monday at 8 p.m. on YouTube. Like I said, this is DJ Neftali, the best reggae in Seattle, Washington, the best radio station, Rainier Avenue Radio World. Right?
Northwest Film Forum's Collective Power Fund is now open for grant applications. Grants are starting at $2,000 up to $10,000 for individual or artist collectives. The annual grant cycle focuses primarily on supporting art that incites public dialogue, pushes boundaries, explores genre fluidity, speaks its truth through an authentic perspective, and is often non-traditional, anti-institutional, socially responsible, or disruptive of any existing structures and conventions. Learn more and apply at collectivepowernw.org.
Rainier Avenue Radio, your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio.
3, 2.
Welcome back to Rainier Avenue Radio World. This is Street Beat. I am your host, Tony B, the beat of the city, Kathy Sledge. Welcome to Seattle again.
Oh, thank you. I'm enjoying this. I'm getting a chance to sit and chat and just chill.
Yeah.
I love this.
And again, thank you for coming to our hood here in South Seattle, live from the Columbia City Theater.
It's a beautiful theater. I love the theater.
Thank you. So we're going to talk about some music now. I wanted to give folks a little background. But before we do that, we were just chatting off camera about the
biopic. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is new information. So
it's brand new.
This is brand new, hot off the presses. Tell us what's happening.
It's interesting because people don't know our story, and we've had a very intricate story and we've always had the challenge. And then there were butting heads at times and still sometimes, but I think in a lot of families you find that. But I feel like the challenge that we had is we were this family that brought the world together through a song at the risk of almost losing our own. And, the challenges that we went through and still go through. But people have no idea. We grew up on top of a bar. We have 5 sisters. The oldest sister, who's my closest sister, pretty much kind of got us into the music more than anyone would know, because we were like her background singers in the mirror with the hairbrushes. But all of these really heartwarming and at the same time challenging things that we went through that I'll be able to talk about. And I am in meetings now with different networks when we're in our fingers crossed, but it looks pretty good. I've actually revisited this because we were talking about it. When I say we, my team, a while back, but now since the pandemic, I've had time to really finish it, work on it.
Yeah. Oh, and I got to talk to you about that pandemic stuff too.
Family room stuff.
Okay. So you now folks know this started before We Are Family.
Yes.
You were touring, you were making records, you had hits overseas.
Yeah.
Then there comes this time when you meet Niall and Bernard.
Yes, and the funny story about Niall and Bernard, I was staying in Germany with my sisters maybe like a year before that. And we were working in the studio with the Fly, Robin, Fly, the Fly, Robin, Fly. Some of y'all generations don't know that, but there was a dance song called Fly, Robin, Fly, up to the sky. And I remember getting the call, and by now I had been missing out on like proms and track meets and things like that. And I really felt like, I've been singing since I was professionally since I was 11.
Wow.
So by the time I was 15, I really felt like we never really had strong success in the States domestically. We had success in other countries, but I really felt like I'm missing out on life. And then we got a call from Atlantic Records, and they were asking, okay, we want you to do something with the yells and yells and yells of people. And that would be Nile. And I was like, look, we just did something with the fly robin, fly people, now you with the yells and yells. And I'm so happy that I said yes. But, that was their big record. Dance, 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 dance. And so the story goes.
And you can sing as much as you want to.
No, where's the mic? I'll sing my way through this whole thing. But no, it was funny because I really did have apprehension about working with the Yowza.
Really?
Because I felt like, when do I get a chance to have a life now? And so the story goes, they owed Atlantic Records a hit.
Okay.
They'd given a hit record to Norma Jean, I Can't Wait Till Saturday. That was a big hit they gave, but that was Columbia. So they were told by Atlantic Records, which is now Warner Brothers, they were told, we need a hit record. You owe it to us. We gave you your hit with Yowza. We want you to produce the Rolling Stones. And Nile and Bernard were very, very, the late Bernard Edwards and still Bernard, Nile Rodgers, very, very wise at their age and very, always relevant. And their thoughts were, okay, look, we're these new hot producers. We just gave you a hit. If you give us Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones, it's going to be a hit.
Okay.
We want the world to know that it's really us as producers.
All right.
So give us some obscure act that no one knows. And that would be us. So we were on this list. They gave them this list of acts. And Sister Sledge is on there.
Yeah.
And he started describing them. These 4 sisters from Philly.
Yeah.
They flocked together like birds of a feather. Like the story I told you earlier. They were
Yeah.
describing and they wrote down the notes and they're like, we'll produce that act. We'll produce the sisters. And they came up with We Are Family.
And that's how it happened.
That's how it happened.
Wow.
And I remember another crazy thing is they were so under pressure with work that I was, as a lead singer, I wasn't allowed, but none of us were. We weren't allowed to hear the songs until it was time to record it, period. So I never heard We Are Family.
You never heard We Are Family?
No.
Even though it was written about your family?
Right.
Until it was time to record the song.
Until it was time to be in the studio. And while I was recording We Are Family, they were writing, I'm thinking of you. And I mean, literally, because that's how genius they were, but they were under pressure too. And Greatest Dancer originally was, because they would flip flop the songs. So I Want Your Love, that was originally our song. And if
the
you listen,
Chic song, I Want Your Love,
song,
was originally your song.
Yeah, and Greatest Dancer was originally theirs. And at the last minute, they flipped it. And so if you listen closely to I Want Your Love, you can hear like Sister Sledge all through there because we were singing the tracks.
Yeah.
But they would do this all the time. They would, if you were an artist in town, they would call up, like Luther, for instance, sang on he sang on all the tracks of We Are Family and all the Chic stuff. And you can hear him so strongly.
Yeah.
But like we were in town when Madonna was doing her Like a Virgin album, and that's us doing Material Girl in the background. So it's like, Niall would do that. He would jump around. He would use different artists. And Duran, I think, they're doing the background to Lost in Music. It's just, anyway.
Yeah.
But that's how they would work. And it would be under pressure. And as a 16-year-old, I'll be honest with you, it wasn't as frustrating as it seems to not hear a song, because I feel like your producer is a lot like a director in a movie. And when you give me that script, the director knows exactly how the outcome should sound and be.
Okay.
And I feel that way with the producer. So I would just lean in. And like what Greatest Dancer was literally recorded line for line by line. Okay, wow. Cut. One night in a disco. Okay, cut. The next line is on the outskirts of Frisco. And so it was like, and so I didn't know how it really would sound until it was finished.
Wow.
So when you guys heard it, I heard it for the first time too.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know what? That is great to just find out this information also about how Niall and Bernard worked.
Yeah, and to this day, what people don't know is, we lost Bernard Edwards, I think he was in his 40s when he passed, from a reaction to a flu shot in Japan, just totally out of nowhere. Wow. But he had gone on they were always known for their collective stuff together. But Niall went on to do, of course, Madonna and David Bowie, Let's Dance, and Grace Jones. I'm not perfect, baby, but I'm perfect for you. I love her. But and then Bernard went on to do Jody Watley, her biggest project. Robert Palmer, Addicted to Love. Like, so they were very talented individually, and together they were just like the perfect storm.
Now, you're talking about who Niall worked with. I want to talk with you about who you worked with.
I was promo for Niall.
Because again, first of all, you're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio. It's me, Tony B. This is Street Beat. My guest is the signature voice, the iconic voice of Sister Sledge. And you recorded We Are Family. You were 15, 16?
I was 16.
You were 16. And you worked.
Actually, I was 15, but I turned 16 by the time it was released.
It was released.
Yeah.
So you talking about some of the people that you were. You mentioned Luther.
Oh man.
On that.
Do we not miss Luther to this day? Yeah.
So at that point in time, Luther wasn't Luther.
No,
I mean,
he
was
wasn't.
Luther, but he wasn't the Luther Vandross that we know at that point in time, and he was singing background.
He did most of the chic background, and if you listen to Good Times, you can hear his voice just as strong, or We Are Family. He's always in there. What was crazy, in retrospect, I remember listening to the playback of the backgrounds in the studio, and Luther, before he was Luther, I remember him listening, and he seemed a little sad. This is what I remember about him, and now I get it. He's probably like, what am I doing background for this like 15-year-old goofy kid? But of course, he went on to be the most, and still at that time was, we just didn't know it, one of the most amazing artists ever. Yeah, oh my gosh, I can't even, his voice is untouchable.
And this is your life, so I'm gonna put another name out there. So y'all, Michael Jackson, y'all toured with the Jacksons.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what that was like. You were kind of, to some folks, you were the other side of the Jacksons at that time, the female group.
Yeah, they used to say we were the girl, like answer to the Jacksons. It was interesting because the Jacksons were some of the nicest brothers you would ever meet. Our bus followed their bus, and we would always eat at like truck stops because truckers didn't know who we were. It didn't matter. We would eat on the roadside stops. But I was 17, turning 18, and I remember I was getting my own apartment soon. And the most memorable conversation I had with Michael, first of all, he had to be one of the kindest, nicest, and naive, but warmest people you would have ever met. I always say, when we saw Stevie Wonder perform at Michael's memorial, if we all remember, he wept, because I believe all Stevie ever saw was his heart. He had the hugest heart. And meeting him and working with him, I was buying my own apartment. So here's my memorable conversation with Michael.
This is your Michael Jackson
This is my
moment.
Michael Jackson moment. And I had a little crush. I mean, who didn't have a little crush on Michael? So, but I was getting my apartment, and so I would buy stuff. I would buy lampshades and dishes, and I would always fill them up on our bus because I was moving and I was excited. And we stopped at one of these road stops, and there were some dishes, like a set of 20 for $19.99. I'm into good prices. And I was telling the guys as they were getting off of their bus, this is a good buy. Like, you want some of these? Because I'm getting some, and blah, blah, blah. And they were laughing at me. And they were like, no, we're good, we're going. But Michael stayed, and he laughed so hard. He's just laughing at me, like, this is funny. And then all of a sudden, the whole conversation changed, because he stops laughing, and then he looks at me and he goes, so why are you moving? And I was 17 then, so I didn't know how to answer that, how I would answer it now. And I think my response was, well, because you know. But then he looked me in the eyes, and I'll never forget this, because he really wanted me to describe the feeling of what it's like to want to move on your own.
Wow.
And I learned later in life, like now I would have answered, because if I'm in my own space, I can leave my glass of water there. When I come back, it's there. Or If I leave it messy, it's messy. Or if I want to clean it, or I don't have to answer to anybody. He didn't understand the feeling of wanting to live by yourself because he never got a chance to experience real life. So he would ask and live it vicariously through people. And I found that out later because it got very serious. He just looked me in the eyes. He's like, but why are you moving? Like, what is that feeling? Describe that to me.
Wow.
And I found out later that he had asked, I believe it was Gladys Knight, what's it like to have a child? Like, what's that feeling? And he would live for these words that you would give him so he could understand what it's like. Because what we have to realize, he never had a life. And I remember too at his memorial, we all remember this. Marlon, his brother, got up and spoke after we lost him, and he said Marlon was going to a record store. I don't know if you heard the story, the old record shop, and he saw this very old man looking through the records. And he walked up to the old man and he whispered, "Hey, Mike." And Michael's like, "How did you know it was me?" And he goes, "Because I know those shoes anywhere." And everybody laughed, but then you think about it, that's what he had to do. He had to go get a totally different visage in order to have any normalcy at all.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, it's, pulls on your heartstrings. So I that was my experience that I realize now. He was asking, he wanted to know, like, vicariously, he wanted to live through the description of the words. And then you realize how, and blessed is a word I would say, that we are to be able to have that normalcy in our lives. Because when you get to that place of stardom, you don't. And you lose that.
Wow. Again, my guest is Kathy Sledge. It's me, Tony B. This is Street Beat. I have so much to talk to you about, and there's so much limited
And I
time.
could go on and on.
I'm just going to bring up one more name because then I want to get back to you. Marvin Gaye.
Okay. We're getting better and better. First of all, who didn't have a crush on Marvin Gaye? Marvin Gaye had to be like anything you can imagine that his smooth voice exudes or exuded or still exudes to this day is every bit of who he was.
Wow.
He was as cool. We worked Radio City Music Hall with him. But I remember Marvin was very cool. And Radio City Music Hall has this stage that rises up slow. And my funny story then, because he of course was starring and we were support act, but we met him and we would use that for our entrance of our show. And he told us how much he liked that. The next night we weren't allowed to use it, but here he comes up slow singing "What's Going On." But to me, that's what you get to do when you are a headliner. He didn't know that stage when. That was Marvin. He was smooth. We didn't care. We're like, he's Marvin Gaye. He can do whatever he wants. But, these are little side stories, backstage stories that I will talk about I do talk about in the biopic. But, we had so many experiences. We were the kind of act, and because of We Are Family, it took us around the world. We had already had different hits in certain countries. But what We Are Family did also is it had us in so many different genres of music. Like we would open all summer for Bill Cosby in Vegas and then go to the Rick James tour, for the next 3 months. So I got a chance to be in all these different settings and platforms and learn how to truly entertain because that's what bridges all of it, I think.
Did you know when you heard We Are Family for the first time? I mean, I guess it's hard to imagine that you'd have one of the most iconic songs ever recorded.
Not a clue.
And that your voice would be the signature voice on that song. Did you have any idea at that time
Absolutely.
what this song could be?
Absolutely not. I was a deer in the headlights. It's funny because I was this goofy 16-year-old, I had braces that as soon as I walked in the room, you'd see me shining. But I would follow Niall sometimes, and we laugh about this to this day. And I go,
"You still shine."
Yes, but not with braces. But he would say to me, I would ask him, "Do you think they're going to play this record?" Because mind you, I really had come from a situation where they never played our records in the United States. They played them in other countries. I didn't know what it was like to get airplay in the United States, but Niall was so confident. And he was like, yeah, it's not only they're going to play it, it's going to be a hit. It's going to be huge. So I had no idea. What's crazy is the first release was He's the Greatest Dancer. And that the day that it was released, that is the song that woke me up for school that day. I'll never forget that. I was like, they're playing our record in the United States. And the rest is history, really.
Wow.
So I had no idea.
So we just are coming out of this pandemic right now, which impacted and affected everything for everybody. It's 2 years. Can you believe it was 2 years?
I can't believe it's 2 years. And it's still lingering, you know.
Yeah, it's like 2 years just got kind of taken away from us.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, during that period, different people did different things. What did you do? I know what you did during the pandemic. What did you do during the pandemic?
You know, it's funny. The pandemic, if it didn't do anything else for me, it worked tremendously for me. My daughter, Kristen Gabrielle, actually, we started our production company together and we did our show, Family Room. And it started, we were pitching this idea of a mother-daughter talk variety show before the pandemic. Like we had the synopsis for it, we were about to talk, and then this happened. So Kristen was like, Mom, let's just set the camera up and do it here. And what happened was the platform of We Are Family, for what it stands for, globally around the world, people would start meeting up in this virtual family room. Of course, it's called Family Room. And now we are talking to different platforms because we definitely, it's, you know, we thought when everything was over, okay, Kristen actually came home for the pandemic because she was out on the West Coast, and my son did too. But we thought, when it's over, you know, world's going to open up. But now we're getting all these letters like, you know, you got to do Family Room. So we're realizing that we always were pitching the idea, but now it's turned into so much more. And now we are talking to networks about it.
So is there some, you know, shameless self-promotion, I'm into that. I told you I had a radio background. Is there somewhere we can go watch?
Yes, actually, we still do it on our IG, on Instagram.
Okay.
We used to do it on Saturdays. That way we could have everyone come in the room from all over. And when I say everyone, we would, you know, she might be in the room, but I remember once, I swear to you, it seemed like somebody came in the middle of a war. It was like they were, I don't know, but they were like hiding under this, and they spoke a whole different language. I think they were in Iraq or something, but it wasn't a war going on, but there was something. But we would get people that would come in this room and connect. And we definitely, like I said, are now talking to platforms. We come on Wednesday nights now because we feel like, first of all, Saturday in the middle of the afternoon, we're hoping people are not watching. That we, you know, we had an audience that, you know, we had to be there. But now we're here Wednesdays, 8:30.
Wednesdays, 8:30.
Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time.
And we meet up in the family room. People have met each other. They've done meetups now. In fact, we've had some people in Seattle.
All right.
And they know that I'm in town.Ey're like, can we have a family room meetup? So it's very special.
Awesome, 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 awesome. You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio .world. It's me, Tony B. This is Street Beat. My guest. Sometimes because I've talked to a few people, and when I say legendary, you know, so when I say legendary for you, how does that resonate with you? We've talked about the folks that you've worked with. We've talked about, again, the length of your career, what you've done. You have to have that tag. When I say that to you, because you just seem so authentic and so humble.
Thank you.
What is that? How does that resonate with you?
Legendary?
Yes.
You know, it's a huge compliment, first of all, but I remember when I first got called legendary, it made me feel very old. I was like, oh my gosh, I need a wheelchair.
That is not what I'm.
I know you're not, but I have to tell you, I think when somebody first called me legendary, I was in my And I was like, legendary. Like, that's like for someone that's not here anymore. But it makes me feel hugely honored. That's the word. To be able, I remember seeing an interview with Beyonce. And she said, they asked her, what's it like to be Beyonce? And she said, actually, ask me that if I'm still here like 20 to 30 years from now. And it kind of made me feel very special because I said, when people are still talking about your music years and years and years after you've done it, it does make you feel legendary in the respect, in a very way, feeling honored.
Right here in Seattle, performing at Demetrius Jazz Alley tonight at 7:30, Friday 7:30 and 9:30, Saturday 7:30 and 9:30. We got you for a while.
I know.
And then Sunday at 7:30 again. So you all weekend long. But right now she's in South Seattle, Columbia City, at Columbia City Theater. And you know what I'm going to do right now? If you would like a pair of tickets, you've had the opportunity to hear all this. This is what I want you to do. Okay. I want you to email. So get ready. Monique at Rainier Avenue Radio.world at gmail.com. Monique at Rainier Avenue Radio.world at gmail.com. I know that's a lot, so I'm going to say it one more again. Monique at Rainier Avenue Radio.world at gmail.com, and tell us your favorite memory of this interview. This one right here.
Yes.
Yeah. And you'll get a pair of tickets.
Oh, nice.
To go see the show tonight. Does that work?
Oh, that would be amazing. And make sure you say hi if you're here in the house. I'm serious. Let them know that you're in the house.
I think, how much? Let me make sure. Did I just get it? Did somebody just tell me we're running out of time? Okay, I can't see that. Oh, okay,
Can we
cool.
talk about jazz a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah, because I do want to talk about that.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, I saw somewhere, I was like, oh, is it this guy or Jazz Alley? I was like, wait a minute, because that's this whole thing that I produced about Billie Holiday. And
what? Wait, what?
I know, and from that, I was given the part. Well, it didn't happen, but I had to read for the part of Lady Day on Broadway.
You were whispering.
I know.
But everybody's peeking in like, what? So everybody's in on fly
So
on
I
the
do
wall.
want to connect those dots with why and how I'm at Jazz Alley.
Okay, do it.
People
Make
don't
it
know
happen.
that part of it. Well, yeah, I definitely want to leave this note that how this all began. I produced a show about Billie Holiday because I've been doing Billie Holiday since I was 16 in Vegas with my sisters. And people say I have a way of bringing her to life on stage, but I felt like, it's called The Brighter Side of Day. And I felt like we know the heavy story. Let's just do Billie at her best. And I use Alicia Keys' horn section. They're called the chop horns. But we literally took this around in all the jazz houses. And from that, now I'm in the studio with Stanley Clark. We're doing the jazz project.
Wow.
Yeah, some people don't know that whole aspect of it. But that's the connection. I love jazz music. And we will definitely be giving you some of that. We got to do the hits, we know that, but we definitely going to be doing some jazz.
So you're in the studio with Stanley Clark?
Yes, I've been writing with them.
I'm gonna take you back old school because I'm a big Stanley Clark.
Are you?
Do you remember school days?
Oh, are you kidding me? Yes, this is huge as it. Yeah, of course I do.
Well, now we know why she's at Jazz Alley.
Yeah.
Authentically. We're almost out of time. I knew this was going to fly by.
I know.
But I want to give you the opportunity to share anything that you would like with our audience listening right now, Kathy.
Well, just that I'm very happy to be here. I cannot wait to see folks in the house in Seattle. There are a lot of surprises that you're going to see. Definitely some jazz, like we said earlier. Maybe some Billie Holiday. But yeah, come on out. And I also want to say I just appreciate the support throughout the years. And be ready to dance on the tables with our family.
All right.
Because we do that.
Well, again, your iconic vocals. So I'm coming on Friday.
Oh, okay.
And
good.
so I've been told that my voice has gravitas. So if you hear this voice,
all right.
you
Well,
know
we
my
might have to
voice
get you up.
sounds like now. So just know that that's me.
You're going to be sorry you told me that. I'll be like, where's Tony? Come on up here.
Thank you again so much for everything that you brought to us, and you probably heard this before, but again, the soundtrack to our lives.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate
Proud
you.
of that.
And it is, like I said, I feel like I had already known you. And
Like
now,
family, right?
Yes. and now the same thing. I think all you out there, you probably feel the same way too, right? Yeah. Yeah, shaking their heads in the studio audience with us. Again, show times tonight at 7:30. Tomorrow, opening show.
Yes.
Opening show tonight.
Yeah, tonight. We're hyped.
And then 7:30 and 9:30 on Friday, 7:30 and 9:30 on Saturday, 7:30
On
again
Sunday.
on Sunday, 7:30 Friday. I'll be there.
Make sure you come out.
Yes, and again, thanks to Jazz Alley for making this happen. Kathy, it has been a pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone out there.
That's it. That's all the time I have. That's going to do it for the kid. It's me, Tony B of Street Beat, saying, remember, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you are probably right. I'm out. Peace.